Hi, everybody. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one's called Do You Know Who You Are? Yes, yes. I'm a little hoarse, a little under the weather today. I got sick yesterday, so I'm a little bit under the weather, and I've been, you know, nursing my cold. So if I sound a little raspy or something like that, it's it's from the cold. But I've been taking these odorless garlic pills that I got from Amazon, and I've been taking my grape seeds that I got from Amazon, and I've been taking my zinc that I got from Amazon. All right, and I'm currently drinking cranberry juice. Okay, so yes, look, do you know who you are? Look, we need to preserve our ancestry. We need to we need to talk to our youth, the youngsters out here. Tell them about back in the day. At least try to take them back at least about 100 years or something, or 50 years. Try to go back further than the immediate family, people that are alive today. You got to tell them about people that are gone. And I know it's kind of hard nowadays because these kids, they don't want to preserve anything. Something like African Americans did. A lot of African Americans, they don't want to tell nothing about their past. You know, you say, hey, grandma, what was your parents like? You say, oh, no, no, child, you don't need to be concerned about that. You don't need to be concerned. They don't want to tell you a lot of stuff. Or you ask your grandfather, hey, okay, but when you was a kid, what did you do? Oh boy, no, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that stuff, boy. Go, just worry about now. Worry about now. Look, we have to have some past. You have to have some past that you remember. Because look, my great grandmother, God rest her soul. My great grandmother, I call her my grandma because my grandma died giving birth to my aunt. So that back then they was being born by midwives and stuff like that. So my grandmother, I never got a chance to meet her. So my great grandma, I call her grandma. You know. So my great grandma was she was approaching 100 years old, and she started losing short term memory. But she remembered way back. I'm talking about with startling details. So they brought over my house. I think it was on her birthday. I think it was around her birthday. And I sat her in the most comfortable chair we had in the house, in my apartment. And well, all the couch was overstuffed, and this chair was overstuffed too. They was very sturdy furniture. So anyway, they sat her in that chair, and then I took a crate and sat next to her and started talking to her, and she couldn't remember. She remembered me because from a long time ago when I was little, you know. But I don't know how we got on the subject of her parents and stuff like that. But all of a sudden she started talking, spilling the beans on it. She started talking about it. She told me about my her sisters and her brothers. She had nine siblings. So she told me about each of them. And then when she started telling me, I scuffle around and I got a pen and a pad. I got a pen and a pad, and I started jotting down stuff, jotting down stuff. And she told me a lot, and she told me that they were Choctaw Indians. Okay, Choctaw Indians. So that they were from the Choctaw tribe, you know. And my grandmother bared startling resemblance to a Native American, you know. She bared a startling resemblance to a Native American, you know. She had the long braids and stuff like that. They were gray, but they were still there, you know. She had the keen nose and everything, you know. So look, y'all need to school these youngsters, school the young ones, tell them about back in the past, you know, because they may need to know this, you know. You know, maybe people back in the past didn't have that had some health problems or something that they're going to be prone to now. That's in their DNA. Now look, you can go to excuse me. You can go to 23 and Me. That's a genealogy website, and it's more prone for health information. So excuse me. That's for health information, okay? And then there's Ancestry DNA. That's where you can track down family or chart your lineage, okay? So, but it's kind of hard trying to track your Indian ancestry, you know? But you can go to My Heritage. They have some good information. Then you can go to Living DNA. Then you can go to 23andMe again, you know, and Family Tree DNA. Then you can go to Nebula Genome. Okay, that's a good start, you know. Or you can go to the Trail of Tears rolls. Okay, the Trail of Tears roll. That's where they gathered up all the Indians and marched them off somewhere else. But they cataloged a lot of stuff. So, and the Trail of Tears lasted from 1831 till 1850. Okay, that's when they marched all the Indians out. When they took over their land, you know, they took over the Indians' land and marched them all out. You know, but they didn't go peacefully. A lot of them were killed. But that's the Trail of Tears. That's why they call it the Trail of Tears. You know, but they made them follow them, like they made them walk it. They made them walk it. So it's terrible, man. It's real terrible. But that's what really got me really got me interested in Native Americans, you know. Well, I start studying, you know. And I studied the Choctaw Indians, and they were originally from Arkansas. Arkansas and Mississippi, you know. So I think my mother was born in Arkansas. My mother also bared a similar facial structure of an Indian, you know. Yeah. So I don't know, man. But look, we need to teach the kids in the family about our ancestry. Tell them about their grandmothers. Tell them about their great grandfathers. Tell them about their great grandmothers, you know. Man, because it's interesting. It's really interesting, and it's interesting to know, you know. So I don't know, man. But I thank God that my grandma was able to give me all of that information that she did, So, man, I'm thankful for that. So, R.I.P. Jimmy Lee Hoover. Okay, Jimmy Lee Hoover. All right. Now, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like, and hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share, share, share. Share my videos with your family. Share it with your friends. Share it with your loved ones. And even share it with your enemies. Peace. Adios. Salamat.
Salamat!